Hi there, and welcome back to the Hub of Junior Golf Podcast. I'm Ryan Burr, joined as always by the founder of the Junior Golf Hub, Roger Nick. Roger, the calendar is turned yet again. All that talk we had on all these podcasts. By the way, Roger, congratulations. Podcast number 97 today, number 97. Who's your favorite 97? History of sports. Come on. There hasn't been a lot of great 97s.
Wow. You know what popped in my head is actually the crash of the old 97, the wreck of the old 97, right? It was the train wreck.
Yeah, I'm serious. 97 is kind of an odd number. A million athletes, obviously Gretzky, 99. There's been a lot of good 98s, but not a ton of 97s out there. But we do know this. We have talked on this podcast so much about the Player Development Index, about taking advantage of it this summer. We thought today would be a great time to kind of update that as we are into the dog days of summer. I know for much of the country, this is the last really full month of summer as the kids will go back to school after Labor Day. Some other states obviously even go back earlier. And to help us with that recap, we welcome in the CEO of the Player Development Index. That, of course, is Eric Allen. Eric, thanks for joining the podcast today.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Roger. Happy to be on.
Yeah. Morning, Eric.
Episode 97. You never wore 97, have you, Eric?
I was never a D lineman, an O lineman, any sort of lineman. No.
That's exactly right. I mean, players now are getting a little more liberty with their numbers, but 97 is Roger and I said that's an obscure one for sure. We are into August, Eric, as Roger and I were talking about. As far as the race to Coshada, if you will, we really are. We're running, the sand is running out of the hourglass. 3 months from today, we will be at Coshada for the World Championship. 8 different countries represented, over 300 athletes from around the world gathering to play on Golf Channel and obviously have an opportunity to change their lives, really. And we've seen it. Grace Carter is the latest, a 2-time winner at Coshada that has performed so well recently at the USGA Girls. Let's just get an update first from you, Eric, and then I think Roger and I would love to kind of respond from there. The 6 events that are an automatic lead to an automatic exemption for 8 athletes to Coshada. When this plan was put into place, when it was devised, it was so far out of the box. I think initially it was almost difficult for people to grasp that they could actually get into this championship for the first time based on something other than their golf score. Eric, you have been on the road at many of these qualifying events. What has the reception been? Have you noticed a difference in the way PDI is perceived and even known about by junior athletes?
Yeah, it's been really well received. It's been a great experience so far. Hundreds of PDIs given, parents and athletes. Reaction's been really positive. They understand it, experience it. They're now can talk about it with others as well. So great benefit for PDI and getting the word out. But when we take them through the stations at the regional events, it's really efficient, but what's great about it is they get a little time with our coaches to experience and say, you can start to connect. What does a PDI assessment give you in terms of capabilities for assessing your strengths and weaknesses in the areas of the game that you need to develop? And that's the joy of golf. That's the joy of the journey, right? So it's the physical components and how those connect to the strength and endurance of your golf game. It's the skill aspects that you're testing, and now getting to see that score, that initial score, compare it to others in your age group. Think about the things you can work on. And like you said, the sand in the hourglass is running out, but there's still time. Sure. You could still go get another coach guided assessment, be practicing every day. These elements of the assessment, that practice is the best thing you can do for your golf game. Each of the elements of PDI is perfect for you to work on and get better so that maybe you win that next regional tournament and you get that exemption or that entry to Coshada that way.
I mean, Roger, the exemption obviously is getting people in the door in droves. As we said, there unfortunately the demand is been even more than we could have guessed. But that's really not what PDI is. I mean, it's great that this has been so successful, but PDI, as you devised it, Roger, is for everyday use. Is that not right?
That's correct. I mean, we were just having this discussion yesterday in the meeting. It's like we want to get players to understand that this isn't just an assessment to do once. It's an assessment that you can actually use every day as a practice that only at the end of the day helps you get better, right? So as Eric said, it just helps you get better. It's a great warm-up to go out for a tournament even, right? So a lot of people get caught up on this idea that they got to go hit a bunch of golf balls, but really with no purpose. This really kind of defines a purpose for them to kind of get them ready to play. But it's fun to watch. I mean, as Eric's been out and now seeing it, and you Brian, you've experienced it. It's fun to see these kids be challenged in a way that they've never been challenged before when it comes to learning, and it's frustrating. And I think that's one of the things that I think we hear from players quite often is how frustrating it can be, but also they see the benefits of it, right? They're starting to see the benefit of, man, if I just challenge myself with these skills, it's going to make me better. So yeah, it is made for every day.
Well, Ryan, I want to jump in on that. You think about summer as a great time for getting a lot of practice in. And I think a lot of athletes and parents and coaches think about, like, how do I make practice meaningful?
For sure.
And I think that's one of the cool things is that as you take an assessment, there's something in there that's a score. And so each shot that you take is a practice that you can make like a game mentality. And you can just use the app to just go through each of those assessment elements and each one a practice shot, like a game mentality. Make this chip, make this putt, and it means something.
Well, I will say this. If you take all of junior golf in its entirety, competitive junior golf, and you try to assess at the top of the pyramid what the biggest thing that needs to be changed in junior golf. I'm sure some people will say the rankings, or other people will say the tournaments, or how difficult they're to get into, or they're not enough, or they're too many, or this or that, or this or that. I will say this, as the parent of a Division I player, as an owner of a tour that will put over 10,000 kids through tournament action this year, I will say, and it's not close, Eric and Roger, it is not close to what the biggest problem in junior golf is. Unless you're Justin Thomas and your father is a PGA professional, and believe me, there's a reason a lot of guys on the PGA Tour's fathers were PGA professionals. It's because they were able to practice properly. Believe it or not, that has a giant thing to do with it. So if, like most other people, your parents have jobs or drop you out of golf course, or you ride your bike, or however you get there, the epidemic in junior golf is no one knows how to practice. I mean, no one. I watch it. I can't believe it. It is hit bang balls with no real. Half of them don't even have an alignment stick down. Half of them have their club on one hand and their cell phone on the other, trying to take an Instagram of it. Very little. No one. The bunker doesn't need to be raked, because the amount of kids that go to hit a practice bunker shot is about 0%. And what I've noticed is they're putting the hours in. They've been at the golf course for 5 hours today. They've played a lot of holes, which is great. There certainly is a ton of benefit of playing holes, getting the ball in the hole. But what no one, very few, know how to do is warm up, practice, and that practice is designed not as a warm up to go play holes. That practice is designed to actually get better at this game. I don't think many kids treat practice to get better. They treat it as, all right, I hit my driver. It's pretty good. It's moving right to left. I think that's what I want to do today. Let's go play. And I think if we could stress anything on here, it's that if your child is in that case where they are putting the time in, give them a plan. when your child walks into math class, they don't just, there's a teacher in there. There's not just like, hey, do whatever you want today, guys, and we'll take a test on Friday. So I do think PDI, if we can stress anything, it's got to get to the point where these kids are empowered to take the self-assessment with them on their phone and actually try to get better each and every day. And if you don't want to do it every day, that's fine too. But if you want to do it every other day, at least you now essentially have that PGA professional with you at all times. Someone that is teaching you and showing you what you can do. Here are the steps to get better at golf. And I think the door has been opened because of the exemptions, and hundreds and thousands of kids through the self-assessment and the coach guided are aware and are doing PDI. But it's got to be at least 2-3 times a week if you really want to get better. Boy, that was a long something by me there.
Now, Ryan, I think you're spot on, and I think one of the toughest things that we have to understand as a greater community in golf, and especially in our world, junior golf, that we so love, is that it's not anyone's fault that they're not practicing and don't know how to practice. You have to understand, I think one of the biggest things we find in our society is how important we've created the rankings for these players, right? So, I mean, everything is about how they get ranked, how they compare to their classmates and that kind of thing, right? So it does become this race to where do I go, right? And we've kind of set up and organized our tournament world around something like that versus development. So it's like we've got so many tournaments out there that are providing opportunities for kids to play. But what do you do when you go back home? You just go hit balls and you go play again, right? Versus, to your point, of going in, I'm going to organize, and I know the skills I need to get better at. And if we look at it from the standpoint of going, how do I learn math? Well, there's a process in learning math, right? It's a process to writing better. There's a process to understanding social sciences, if you will, right? That has to be organized in a way that they know that they're actually moving towards, mastery of a subject, right? So what PDI is doing is really organizing it in a way that they're learning how to master these skill sets. And it's about the mental skill sets. It's about the physical skill sets, and it's about the golf skills. And it's also about going out and performing and playing. So it's one of those things that I think we have to really understand what's getting in the way is really, tournaments relative to rankings, all the way down to, I mean, it's great. I love to see the Little League. I love to see the U.S. kids tournaments, but it's gotten more about the rankings for those events versus development to get better long term. I just saw, actually, it was funny, a good friend of mine and a colleague, Tom Howe, he did a video not long ago about, and he's more into baseball, but he's helped with TPI, and he's helped, kind of coach a lot of coaches and mentors in sports. And he posted a video regarding 94 or 95% of Major League Baseball pitchers are late bloomers that actually make it to the major leagues. And it's not the ones who are just lighting it up in Little League or lighting it up in high school. It's actually the ones who are
good point.
Continuing to develop. Here's another really crazy statistic about that. Number one draft picks in baseball, if you're a pitcher, you might as well retire the day you sign your contract, because most of them don't make it to the major leagues because they didn't actually work on the proper things earlier in their career. So they usually continue to get injured and have long-term chronic injuries, right? So they never really quite make it. So if we could help the kids and the parents understand development is what we're looking for, it's going to perpetuate their growth and their development properly, which their long-term success just goes up.
Eric, my biggest mulligan as a parent, a golf parent, and this is a lesson of, learn from my mistakes. And listen, I wouldn't trade my memories with my son for anything in the world. It's the absolute favorite time of my life. As I said, all the way up to, the ranking game, a top 50 player in the world, and a Division I scholarship, and all those great things. But, and there is a giant but, I 100%, and I think about this when I go to bed at night. If I was to do it all over again, and knowing the system and how everything works now, not a single shot in your life matters before you're 14 years old. In a lot of cases, it's 15 years old, almost a Rogers win. And that is, look what Tiger did with Charlie. I mean, say what you will about Charlie, but Charlie played pretty much nothing until he was 14 or 15. I mean, we didn't even know if he was playing golf, and he showed up with this, gorgeous swing. Tiger Woods is his dad, but and this is where I was just so far off. If I was to do it all over again at 9, 10, 11, and 12, I would have done PDI and maybe 3 tournaments a year. But the concentration, the goal, the game, the competitiveness would have only been centered around PDI. And I'm talking in the entire year, maybe 3 tournaments, maybe 4 max, but very little emphasis on that. The emphasis would have been strictly on, imagine this, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, just trying to get better at the fundamentals. I put way too much emphasis on score in a tournament of a 9 and 10-year-old, which they could not mean less. I swear to you, if I was to do it all over again, it would be completely centered around PDI, 2, 3, 4 tournaments a year, which are fun events. Looking forward, we have an event in 2 months. Let's see if we can get our PDI score to here before we go play in that event. And then, when you reach 9th grade, when you reach 14, 15, 16, it is go time. You then have to, the proof is in the pudding then. I mean, if you want to play college golf, a score of a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, I don't care if you're shooting 57. It means nothing. Nothing. So with that said, Eric, you are our guest. You've spoken once today. So Roger and I, as you can see, we have been we're used to using the airtime here. Let's talk about what you've seen from the athletes. What's the number one question you guys are getting on the road about PDI?
People are comfortable that the idea they can do a self-assessment, but if they're not going to one of the regionals where we're giving the coach-guided assessment, it's about how can I get that coach-guided assessment done, which is what you need to count, because we can't take a self-assessment score for that trip to Coshada. So we have about 200 certified coaches on our coach locator map on our website. Go to the athletes section and go there. And so you could find a certified coach in your area and go there for a coach guide assessment. Another great path is you could ask your coach, if you have a coach, to get certified. It's a pretty simple process. It's not a high cost, about $100 for the coach to become certified. And then they can give as many coach guided assessments as they want. And then, we do have a couple more regional tournaments, and then we'll try to find ways to get people that coach guided assessment. So I think that's the number one question. But if I could loop back to something you guys were talking about for a second, something to add on, which is that, and it's an important point, Ryan, the NB3 participants have access to the PDI app premium subscription included, no additional cost. And I think that knowing that just getting started, you are served up drills and challenges, lessons that are a guide to improvement in these areas. And they're great practice videos, practice skills to do. Things like an eyes closed putting challenge. There's just a series of those. And one exciting thing I want to add in is the mental game assessment now has drills and challenges that are given to work on to improve your mental game. And that is something that's very unique in the industry. You won't find something like this out there anywhere. And so NB3 members have access to this. How important is the mental game? And we have a clinical psychologist, sports psychologist on staff who has created what we use with our academy students as developmental mental game things to work on pre-game, during the tournament, and post in your evaluation and how you work to improve. So a phenomenal resource. I just want to promote that.
Yeah.
Use that. Parents, if you're looking for something, it's an amazing addition to what we offer. And then finally, the other piece is you guys are talking about kind of that practice, Ryan. You're talking about what would you do? Practice PDI, practice PDI. We know that psychologically for a young athlete, seeing tangible progress builds confidence.
Yeah.
And building confidence in the skills of your game is, how important is that to a junior golfer's long-term development? So tracking progress and seeing this and saying, I'm putting the work in. And then when you go into competition, a way to calm your nerves is to say, I've put the work in.
Yep.
That gives confidence, and that's something nobody can take away from you.
Roger, you mentioned the great analogy with the pitchers. How often has a quote unquote average golfer blown you away with a PDI score, and then you've watched that player blossom into a great golfer?
Oh, so often, actually. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, and that's mostly because we're at our academy, right? So this has been around for a long time for us, or for me, especially as a coach. So I've seen it so often. And I think, I'm seeing it more and more out there where players, they won't call it PDI. They won't call it those things. I think what they'll say is, hey, I'm developing my skills. I'm working with a mental coach. I'm working with my, performance coach on my physical stuff. Everyone's doing the same things. They just haven't packaged it in a way that actually works together so that they are actually working on these things on a daily basis, right? And I think that's the beauty of this. So, but yeah, we see it. I've seen it thousands of times.
Okay. Last couple things, Eric. The top of the scoreboard right now. As you said, there are opportunities for new players to move into those positions. How competitive has this thing gotten with these athletes striving for that exemption?
I'm looking at it right now. And for everybody that wants to look, you go to jgnc.org under the Junior Golf Hub, drop down, there's PDI leaderboard, and you can look at your age divisions and see. And oh man, it's a great, exciting race. Some really good looking scores. But you got to go do your self-assessment and see where you think you'd come in, so you know where you're at, and there's time
to improve.
There's time to work on it.
For sure.
What's the highest score?
I've got a 73.77.
Wow. Okay. And it's male or female?
That's a male in the 16 to 18 age range, which you would expect.
Sure.
All right.
I think we're going to get, I think we'll have an 80 or 78 by the time we get to Kashada. I think we got some, there's some big time athletes that are rolling in. Speaking of big time athletes, Roger, greatest pitcher of all time through 2 years is Paul Skeens. It's undebatable for the Pirates. Okay.
Yeah.
Throws 102. Probably the best curveball in the league, best slider in the league is ERA. If he got the average run support, this is a quick note on the Pirates. If he got the average run support in the major leagues of 3.2 runs, his record would be 34-1 in his first 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you know where Paul Skeens went to college?
LSU?
Went to LSU after he was at the Air Force Academy. You know why Paul Skeens was at the Air Force Academy? Because no one wanted him to be a pitcher in the SEC, ACC, Big 12, Pac-10, whatever it was back then. Paul Skeens wasn't throwing 102. He didn't have the 9-to-5 curveball. Paul Skeens was just a late blooming guy that went to the Air Force Academy, and then obviously it all started to come together, went to LSU, became the most dominating pitcher in college, #1 pick within a year in the major leagues.
Yeah.
It can happen in golf, and it does happen in golf. Trust the process, people. PDI it's foolproof. And like I said, learn from me. I would do PDI almost exclusively and not stop when you're 15 or 16, but like that can be your tournament golf, is trying to improve your score. It's that important, and you really want to get a great player. That would be my advice. Last thing, Eric, congratulations on everything this year. What you guys have been able to pull off is a logistics nightmare that you guys have made look easy. So continued success. I look forward to seeing the final results as we bring these players to the championship.
Thanks for the partnership, Ryan. It's been great, and your team's been really wonderful to work with, getting it done.
Awesome. Roger, last word for you. No, nothing more on 97 or Paul Skeens, but next week I do want you to have a 98 in your arsenal, okay?
I'll get a 98 in my arsenal. You got it. Michael Strahan, 97.
There you go. He was pretty good.
He was pretty good. What's the defensive end for the 49ers? 97, right?
Bosa.
Bosa, right?
See, now that the 97s are just pouring in now, Eric. All right. Thank you both. Congratulations again. Look forward to seeing this continue all the way until we get to the World Championship at Coushatta on Golf Channel. For CEO of PDI, Eric Allen, for Roger Nick, I'm Ryan Burr. Have to also thank our director and producer, Michael Nick, and we will see you next week right here on the Hub of Junior Golf Podcast.
Awesome. I like the Pittsburgh shout out. I wonder why,
Air Force.
Air Force. Hey, listen, Roger Clemens, where did he go to school?
Texas.
No, he didn't go to Texas first. He went to San Jack Junior College.
Unbelievable.
Spent 2 years there before he went to Texas.
That really was a great analogy, because we are so far off the rails on assessing ranking a 9-year-old, and people caring about the ranking of a 9-year-old. Like the college coaches are just laughing, like, what are these people doing?
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. We say that, but yet they're not, right? Because when we talk to college coaches, the first thing they do, which obviously it's one thing, right? But the parents' perception of the thing that they do most is go look at JGS scoreboard, right? They go look at the ranking.
But do you think they're looking at 9-year-olds?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I know a couple of coaches that have a spreadsheet that say, they're putting them on their radar at the U.S. Kids World and starting to follow them through. Obviously, they're not contacting them. They're not doing anything necessarily, right. But
I guess my point is that exact same coach for the 14-year-old Eric Allen that shows up for the first time and wins a tournament immediately goes on the same radar at 14.
Oh, no doubt. Listen, you can name so many, like on the Ryder Cup. Where did they go to school? Like this year's Ryder Cup, you're gonna Keegan Bradley. We may know where he goes, but
right.
Most people have no idea that he went to St. John's. It wasn't recruited, wasn't highly recruited anywhere, right? Or Zach Johnson. Does anybody know where Zach went? Right.
And I mean, you think about even with Keegan, with his aunt or whatever. Like, you would think he would have had doors just because of his last name open for him. Nothing.
Yeah, no.
So, all right, I'll let you get to the 9. Thanks, Eric. We'll talk soon, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Good job, Eric.